Good evening and welcome to Bishop One Church of England School. I'm Mr. Aldridge, Head Teacher, and it's my pleasure to welcome you this evening to our Year 7 Parents Information Evening. It was also my pleasure last week to welcome your child to our school. They made a confident start, full of excitement and enthusiasm for the day ahead, and took everything in their stride. Today, just a week later, it seems like they've always been part of our school community, and they've exceeded our expectations, and you as parents should be very proud. It will be our job, together, in partnership, to try and ensure they never lose that enthusiasm for learning and that drive and excitement for our school continues across the 7 years that they will be with us. This week, in school, we're focusing on our Bible verse from Thessalonians, encourage one another and so build each other up. And while we use this at times of adversity, we should also use it to celebrate and share positivity. The start to school that your child has made has been outstanding, and it will be forever remembered. In fact, it's likely to go down in history as the most challenging start to a secondary school experience that any year group has ever gone through. Now, over the next 7 years, I want your child to be every day and to become the best version of themselves that they can be. And to achieve this, we must all work together. The child, you as the parent, and us as the school. And attending this evening is the first step in that process, showing your commitment to your child's education and the school. Tonight, Mr. Dixon and Mr. Wilson will be leading you through our information evening. They will outline what we've done so far and what we'll be doing in the weeks ahead. And there'll be an opportunity at the end for you to ask any questions to ensure that we're all on the same page moving forward, so that together we can work together to realise the God-given potential in every child here at Bishop Wand. Thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Year 7 Information Evening. I'd like to begin, please, with a prayer. Loving God, whose Son Jesus Christ is a companion and friend, on our journey to be more like him, grant us patience to grow, endurance in difficulty, and courage to walk the way of compassion and peace. Amen. So welcome to the Year 7 Information Evening. I am Mr. Wilson, I'm Head of Year 7. This is Mr. Dixon, who's Deputy Headmaster here at Bishop Wand School. You're very welcome. I'd like to repeat a couple of words that Mr. Aldridge has just said about the Year 7 already so far. They've gone through a tremendous amount so far this year, and to come in with the energy, with the enthusiasm and sheer likability that they've got is absolutely wonderful for all of us. They are an absolute treasure to work with. They're already getting used to routines. We're going to go through some of what those routines are in a little while, but they are doing incredibly well and they really need to be commended for that. In terms of communication, letting us know if there's any concerns, please do be in contact with your form tutor. There is a list of form tutors available on the school booklet, and you can see on your screen now. For technical difficulties, you can contact Mr. Griffiths. His information is also there. Attendance and punctuality. Clearly, we want students to be in school. We know the difficulties that you've had over the last 6 months and how that has impacted students. Simply being late for 5 minutes has an impact over the course of a school year. We do not want students being late to lessons. Now, they shouldn't be late to lessons because of the structure that we have within school. It is therefore really important that students are on time. Year 7 students will meet at the science gate at 8:15 to be brought into the school and taken to their tutor rooms by their form tutors, and we want to make sure that students are on time every day, all year. We know that students are working beyond anything which has ever happened before. They've already demonstrated to me, to Mr. Dixon and to everybody their grit and their determination. They are a resilient group of students. We want to continue that. We want them to understand that this is a marathon and not a sprint. We don't want students coming in when they've got COVID. We want students to come in if they are feeling a little bit, today is not my best day. If they feel that they can come into school and they are well, then they should be in school. We will support them with everything else, but we want them to be here so that we can give them that support. Uniform and appearance. It's been amazing seeing the students in the last couple of days. The uniform looks fantastic. We want to continue that too. Do please bear in mind that we have a policy on haircuts, that's for boys as well as for girls. Do please bear in mind that we have a policy regarding school shoes, and do please be aware of the school policy on school skirts. It's really important that the support that you've shown us in the last couple of days now runs through all the way through this school year. Then it's so much easier as we go through year 8, 9, 10 and 11 as well. Your support is greatly appreciated. We are setting routines. Now the students have gone from no school at all to suddenly being told there are a huge number of things that they must do every day, and they have been fantastic in picking up what those routines are. We're still setting exactly what some of those routines are, and I hope that today we have now finally nailed what we want as our entry policy into the Year 7 bubble area and into their form rooms. It's really important that they line up in alphabetical order so that their form tutors can move them in and we can start the day promptly. Do please be aware of the Pure Check. We have a planner and purple pen, we have uniform, we have reading, so important that students have a reading book with them every day, and we have equipment. I know that there are a lot more things to go into equipment today than we have had in previous years. If there is a difficulty in getting those resources, please do let the form tutor know. We want to make sure that students are ready to learn and not that they're being held back because of what can be quite a small issue like needing a pen or a pencil. So please do make your form tutor aware of that and we'll support your student as best we possibly can. The planner itself. In years gone by, we've had a policy where we have asked for the planner to be signed at home and the planner to be signed by the form tutor. We do want to be a little bit aware that the form tutor cannot be touching planners. We can't be bringing those planners forward and making that sort of contact. However, it is really important, please, that your child is recording their homework in their planner where they can, that you are looking at the work which is being set, and that you are making sure that that planner is being used adequately each week. Again, if there is a concern or anything which you are not sure about with that, do please contact your form tutor, and the best way to do that at the moment is through email. Home learning. There is so much that you have done over the course of this 6 months. I don't want to patronise you by saying these are now things that you should change or these things which you need to do. You are doing an amazing job and we thank you for it. What we want to make sure, please, is the work that we do in Bishop One School is being supported by you. It is a proven fact that the more support that students get from home, the better that they will do throughout their school life. So please do have a look at the work which is being completed by your child. Do ask them about their day and do challenge them if they say that they've just done stuff. It is absolutely fine for you to follow those things up. It will make your students, your child's learning more valued by them. And if there are any problems again, then you can get in contact with the tutor and we'll support you wherever we possibly can. Homework. Homework is being set and the homework will be set throughout this year. Students will complete 1 hour per week for core subjects and 1 hour every other week for other subjects. Do please keep an eye out for this. Do please be aware of what is going on with that. Mr Griffiths will be sending out an invitation for parents to use Show My Homework. That will be going out in the next couple of weeks. Do please keep an eye out for that. It will be a really good way of being able to keep track of homework which is being set and for you to see what is going on with your child. Parent Mail. If you're watching this, you've already got the link for Parent Mail. Parent Mail is a very useful device, not only for booking events and for paying for things, it is also a great communication if we need to let you know things which are going on within the school. Please do continue to use Parent Mail. If you are using the canteen, which is a very limited canteen at the moment, I can only apologise for that. At the moment, we are not having a range of food. But if you wish to use Parent Mail to put some money on, your child can then use the canteen to collect a lunch, and that will be given to them during the first break. I'll now pass over to Mr. Dixon.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Hopefully today you've received an email from Mr. Griffiths on Insight, which is our parental engagement app and desktop version that you can access your students' progress. It's called Insight, and if you get onto that Insight, you will need to make sure that you scan in this QR code so you can access the Bishop One site. Insight is a product we buy into to make sure you link it into the Bishop One site. You'll need to scan that code, which will link you to Bishop One, then put in the details that were sent via Mr. Griffith this morning. It looks like when you log into this is the desktop version here. It gives you access to information about your students' progress. So the 3 reports, which I'll come to in a moment, are published on the Insight app and Insight desktop version. In addition to that, your students' timetable. So if you're not sure what their timetable is for the next day, you'll be able to access their timetable and their teachers. And again, people you might want to be contacting throughout the school day, those people, sorry, the school year, about their progress, you can see who their teachers are. In addition to that, of course, we put in all the student merits and those rewards that we're looking for the students who've done brilliant work. And as echoing what Mr. Wilson's also already said, so much of the great work they've already started to do. And unfortunately, the other side of that is the negative aspect. So if there's any concerns about your child's conduct, then of course they come up here as well, and any detentions that we hope no Year 7s get throughout this year. But should they fall into that area, they'll be able to access the detentions through there as well, and you'll be able to see that as well. The students have a login for this as well, so that in addition to you, the students have a login, and that's linked to their RM Unified page. You'll see the little tabs up here on the top. This is the desktop version. You'll see the tabs at the top there, which you can access the different parts of the Insight app. When you're using the app version, you'll find that they're a bit more intuitive, and you'll see that there's ways to access the different aspects of the Insight software. Assessment and reports. We report 3 times per year, and those of you who are familiar with Bishop One will be familiar with the colour coding. But once we get to those reports later on in the year, there will be additional information to explain those reports. So please look out for that. Again, through Parent Mail, we'll be informing you when those reports were published, and you'll be aware of that well in advance. So don't worry, it won't suddenly appear on your Insight app and not be announced to you. It will be published with you, and you'll be able to keep up the progress with about your child. Obviously, if you do have concerns in advance of that, the teachers are likely to be contacting you in advance, and it won't be a surprise if your child's not being successful. So we do hope that most of the progress in initial terms are very, very good. Lastly from me, before I hand back to Mr. Wilson, and again echoing all the wonderful things that the students have been doing, behaviour for learning is very much getting our students back into those routines and supporting each other. We know that starting at secondary school has been quite a challenge, and we really are looking this term to be encouraging one another and building each other up from day one, and helping each other where those challenges are appearing, that they can support each other. And that way we can all meet our high aspirations, that everyone is successful at Bishop One. Simple things that we ask our students to do is being in the right place at the right time and doing the right thing. And to date, I have to commend every single Year 7. They've done a really cracking job of doing that, so well done to them. I'm going to pass back to Mr. Wilson.
We want to reward the students. We want to say how fabulously well they've done. And it's lovely that I have this opportunity to say that directly to you now. However, throughout the year, we also want to keep that going. So we will be sending emails home, we will be making phone calls home, we will be sending where it is appropriate and we can touch things. We will be sending things like certificates home to genuinely commend the students on the work which we do. Where we are able to, and when we're given guidance to be able to, we will put other recognitions in place as we go throughout the year. As I'm sure you appreciate, at the moment that's very limited, and we are purely working off guidance. As soon as we are able to, we really want to recognise the phenomenal work which is being done by students across subjects. A couple of dates for your diary I'd just like to flag up. All dates before half term have been confirmed. After half term, we are still waiting to see what will come, and when those things are confirmed, that information will be passed on to you. A couple of things to bear in mind: we have an Inset Day on the 25th of September. We have the Year 7 Settling In evening. That was another event which is going to be on Teams. That is going to be on the 15th of October, and half term is on the week commencing the 26th of October. A couple of dates after half term which are yet to be confirmed is school closures on the 20th of November and the 11th of December, but they are yet to be confirmed. The end of the autumn term is confirmed, and that is the 18th of December, and that will be an early closure for the school. So again, further information will go out regarding that closer to the time, so do please look out for that. Normally at this point we would invite subject leaders and heads of faculty to talk to you about the subject. We're just going to summarise a couple of subjects for you now. English is, as you can imagine, one of the foundation points that we have within Bishop Wand, and it's a subject which covers a huge amount of work, which we summarise as communication. The standard of work and the curriculum of work is very firmly established. Information again will come out directly from the English department for that, and your child will be supported all the way through year 7 and obviously through into year 8 as well. Accelerated Reader is an online programme. It's a very interesting way of checking a child's understanding of a book. There is a huge number of books which are available within the Accelerated Reader programme. Essentially what happens is a student takes the book, they read it, they can then go online and complete a series of questions about the book which checks their understanding of it, and they will receive a score. The student can check their progress and you can check their progress too. It is a brilliant programme which we hope to have running. It's not quite running at this point in the school year, but as soon as it is again, we will make you aware of that, and I strongly advise you or recommend that you use Accelerated Reader. It's a brilliant facility.
Right, on to maths. So obviously another core subject that all students are coming through in Bishop Wand, and the students are very successful in maths. There's a lot of information about maths, and we'll be supporting them the best we can throughout this time. Bear in mind, I think we've said this already, but all these slides will be sent to you after the event. So please, if you're worried about any of this information, that will be shared with you after the event. Maths resources and workbooks. Often parents are looking for extra support for their students and children, so there are purpose practice books on offer. There is also some books that you can purchase via parent mail, and they're available for £6 per book, so that will be available to you as well. Maths department looks very much at where the gaps are in the learning. We know our students come from many different primary schools and many different learning experiences. And so we look to help bridge those gaps and those difficulties where they're missing out that learning. We will look to that and we will look to support you. Particularly to help you with that is Hegarty Maths. So Hegarty Maths is an absolutely fabulous programme. If you're familiar again with Bishop Wand School, you'll be familiar with Hegarty Maths. Year 7 will have access to it, not yet, but it will come later on this term. So the Maths department is looking at how to get those usernames and access for the students onto Hegarty Maths, and that will be rolled out as soon as possible. So look out for that resource and help your students to log on to Hegarty Maths for those areas where they struggle, not the things they love so much, but the areas where they struggle, and push them through those aspects to push up their maths, and they'll have a fabulous, successful time.
Plagiarism. It's a big word and it's quite a scary word. It's something which we want to make students aware of right from the beginning of their experience at Bishop Wand, so that when they come to this at Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5, it is something which they are completely familiar with. It isn't something which is scary, it is simply something which needs to be recognised and all students need to be aware of, so that their work can be marked correctly. Essentially, plagiarism is taking the work of another person and either passing it off as your own or not accepting that somebody else said that first or came out with that idea first. Very simply, that's all plagiarism is, and as work is handed in specifically at the end of Key Stage 3 and into Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5, that then is something which will be picked up at the point of assessment, and work which isn't of the child's own original work can theoretically be struck off as 0. So we want to be very clear that students are taking ideas from other people. That is completely fine. But quite simply, if you're not sure, reference it. It's a very simple thing to do. There's a number of ways that you can reference work. One is to simply state that somebody's idea was, or somebody has stated that. If it comes directly from a textbook, you can say what the title of the book is and the page number that it comes from. If it's a reference which comes offline, it's important to state that it has come from a particular author. Wikipedia is not a reference. You would need to state that it came from a particular source and a particular date where possible. There is guidance, there is a lot of guidance available to take you through in more detail as to what this is. The most helpful thing that parents can do at this point is to go through the plagiarism statement which is in their planner and to make sure that you have gone through it and understood it, that your child has gone through it and understood it, and that is then signed. That signature is not a legally binding signature. It is the most helpful way that we can say, fantastic, you have read this, you have understood it. If your child doesn't understand it, please ask them to talk to their English teacher, to ask to their form tutor, and we will happily explain what it is. I do not want students to be concerned by this or to be stressed by this, but it is something which is really important, and we want all students to be aware that that is something they need to be bear in mind. PE. We have obviously gone through a few months where contact is extremely difficult, and as you can imagine, the PE department are working very, very hard to make sure that all students can still take an active part in PE lessons. Whilst some sports are specifically difficult to achieve at the moment, PE lessons are still taking place. At the moment, the PE kit that all students need is their outdoor kit, and they will continue to need their outdoor kit for each PE lesson for the foreseeable future. We will tell you when that changes. If your child is not feeling particularly well or doesn't feel they are able to take part in lesson, especially if they have an injury, it's really important, please, that they tell the PE department what the problem is. We still want them to take part in PE lessons, we still want them to get changed, and we still want them to be in the lesson taking part. Because they have an injury doesn't mean they can't be an extremely useful member of the class and feel that they are valued and feel that they are part of the whole class and the whole year group. We want everybody taking part in everything that we do at Bishop School. The rest of the information on the subject is available in the booklet that is going to be emailed out to you in the next couple of days, so I won't go into a huge amount of that detail here. We do, though, have a number of questions which have been sent through us, and we're going to try and address a few of those.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. We've got a few of the questions been through for the forms in advance of this, and I'll go through a few of those. I won't go through necessarily all of them. But thank you all for joining us tonight so far. As I say, all these slide deck will be sent out. There's a few extra slides we haven't shared this evening, but they will be available for you to peruse at a later date. We may be able to put out this video as well, and we'll have a look at doing that, but definitely the slide deck will go out to you. Some of these questions that have been put through here as well, I may not answer tonight, and we may answer them online, or if possible, we might answer them directly with the question to the person who's asked the question. But to start us off here, is there a way for parents to get involved and support the school? Is there a PTA? We have Friends of Bishop Wand, and we do hope later on this year, when we move out of the system we're in now, that you'll be able to become involved with the Friends of Bishop Wand and support the school through that way. So yes, there's definitely a PTA or Friends of Bishop Wand that we can work with. A second question was about streaming maths. Yes, we will hopefully or potentially be looking at streaming maths after Christmas. That is to be still looked at, and nothing confirmed at this stage, but later on we will potentially look at streaming for maths. Questions about students gaining practical knowledge in science and home economics and those things where they can't use apparatus in the classrooms. There will be some practical lessons in science. They will be held in the classrooms. Obviously, they won't get the chance to use Bunsen burners at the moment. They may not be able to do certain experiments, which they would normally do in a science lab. But we do anticipate students still having the science experience. We're hoping this year won't be all about lockdown and being in this bubble the whole year. We don't know what the whole year will look like. We do hope we will get back into science labs sometime this year, but I'm not going to promise. In the meantime, we will put in provisions where we can for students to do practical activities for specialist subjects such as science and DT and art. We will do those within the classrooms and put provision within those. Lunchtime, 20 minutes. At the moment, while we are in this situation, lunchtime will be 20 minutes. We do appreciate that is a fairly short time, but there are two breaks every day. So if they don't finish their lunch in the first break, they are welcome to finish their lunch in the second break. They are staying in their own classroom, so it's not a problem about carrying food around for a long time. So that shouldn't be a problem. Will the 8 a.m. start be for the foreseeable future? Yes. We actually said 8:15 start, so we're expecting our students to be in by 8:15. Our gates open at 8 a.m. We don't want students in earlier than 8. 8:15 is when they should be in, so there's a window of about 15 minutes we're asking them to come in there. Homework club and school after school clubs, hopefully from the 14th, which is next Monday, we'll be looking at the homework clubs. That will run after school for about an hour, so that's from 2:30 to approximately 3:30. Those should be running from next week. We will be looking at extracurricular clubs as well, but we just need some time to get all these new processes in place, so please bear with us while we get routines into place, and as we get that routine in place, we will ask staff to potentially do some after school clubs, and we'll look at doing that later on during the term. So keep watching for your parent mail and for the head's newsletter each week for any additional clubs that might be coming your way. Students will be changing for PE, or should be changing for PE. They won't be just wearing their trainers. They did that for the induction day, but going forward they will be changing for PE and have the full PE experience, so that will be from now on. There's questions about the bus company and their payment. I raised, and we'll deal with that particular issue about using cash. I'll raise it with the bus company. That's not something we run, so not directly related to us, but we can pass that on. We've given you information about your form tutors, so hopefully you can contact through that. I'm just looking for any other questions we have there. Mr. Wilson, anything else I've missed there? Just looking quickly through here. That's probably about it.
I think that's the most important.
Right.
Yeah, that's covered.
Ms. Riley, I know there's been some questions online. We'll try and take some of these live now, so bear with us as we go through these questions. We won't answer all of them, and as I say, some of them might answer personally back if we can.
Is it possible to buy any second-hand uniform at the moment?
I don't know the answer to that. I'm going to be honest, I don't know the answer to that. But if you'd like to email admin at Bishop One, they might be able to give you an answer about that uniform query, and we can direct you from there.
Mr. Wilson, are lockers available for Year 7?
So all students who wish to purchase a locker are able to do that now, and we spent some time in the first couple of days making sure those students know where their lockers are. However, no student in the school at the moment is using the locker. This isn't something which is restricted to Year 7. None of the students at the moment are using their lockers. It's not having a massive impact for students at the moment because they're spending, particularly for Year 7, so much time within their tutor base. That tutor base means that there are not other people coming in and out of the classroom, so the equipment that they've got is quite secure, and they do not need to be moving a large amount of equipment between lessons. If they get a locker, if they purchase a locker, that locker will be with them all the way through their school life. So if they have a locker, as soon as we are able to move around the school and therefore use the lockers, then of course the students will do that. I don't want students to feel that they purchase a locker and they are being punished in some way. It is something which we are putting in place at the moment for everybody's safety. Their lockers are there as soon as we're able to use them.
Can we just clarify that the outdoor PE kit is the rugby top, the blue and the red rugby top, please?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Brilliant. Can we confirm which gate to go to for the start of the day, and at what time should they be at that gate?
So, yeah, the gate that Year 7s are now using is the science gate, and that's just down towards Spelthorne Gym, down the road towards Spelthorne Gym. Obviously, we're asking you as parents to drop children off by the main gates. However, if you are driving into the site, you are welcome to drive down to Spelthorne Gym and drop your child off near that gate. So that's down that road. The time they should be here, as stated earlier, is between 8 and 8:15. We want our students in at 8:15, ready to go in at tutor time, begin that tutor time, because after that, other students are going to begin to arrive. So 8:15 is the latest they should be in, 8 o'clock is the earliest.
Are we asking students to buy their own purple pen, or will there be an option for them to buy it here at school?
We would prefer students to have pre-bought a purple pen. To be honest, it will make everything so much easier for them to be able to do that. As I said earlier on, if there is an issue with equipment, do let your full tutor know. We want to make sure that students are equipped and ready to learn. It's not a policy where we're going to be saying we are selling out pens, but what we certainly don't want is any students to be disadvantaged because they don't have the equipment. So if where it's possible, please do purchase a purple pen. They're available from WH Smith's and Tesco's and lots of different places. They're not difficult to get. So if you can get one, that would be fantastic.
Mr. Dixon, where can parents get the school's QR code from?
After this presentation, obviously I send this deck out, but it is also available from the Insight page. When you log on to that Insight page on the school site, you can link up to the QR code. But I'll send this PowerPoint around, and that will be the easiest way to scan it through.
Do you think that things might get a little quicker going through the canteen? It seems to be taking quite a while, and students are eating cold food that might otherwise be hot.
Yes, the short answer is yes. Students, as I said earlier, have done an amazing job at getting used to routines. Today really was the first opportunity to go through the canteen. It was difficult because they haven't done it before, and they will get quicker at it because they will know exactly what to do, and they will be able to line up, go through, and they'll be able to then go and eat. And I'm sure that's what they want to be doing.
And Mr. Dixon, if students have 2 lessons in a row, will there be any allowance for movement breaks?
We will be expecting our students to possibly stand up and give a bit of a stretch and shake, and then move into the next lesson fairly quickly. Although the students are remaining in the classroom, quite often the students may have the opportunity to move around within that classroom to work with their group work. So it won't always be sitting facing the front, and as teachers move through those lessons, they will have an opportunity to do some group work, so yes.
Mr. Wilson, can you just confirm when inset days might be confirmed?
When inset days might be confirmed? I can't confirm that at the moment. As soon as we know what those days are going to be, we will of course pass that information on to you. But it wouldn't be fair or right to me to say at this point they have been.
I'll just clarify that by half term we should be able to confirm the remainder of this calendar year. We will wait for the later on to the year. It's because it's a movable feast. We don't want to commit ourselves to certain inset days if it's not going to suit the school calendar. So you have those 2 dates. We won't add any extra ones in between now and the end of the year, the calendar year. So those 2 dates that we said to be confirmed, we will either say they're not happening or they will go forward. But we won't add any extra ones in before Christmas.
Some parents have not received any info on how to access Insight. Should they have had that by now?
Yes, they should have. I'm just checking with Mr. Griffiths. Yes, they should have received that now. If they haven't, they probably need to email Mr. Griffiths, please, regarding that, and he will follow that up.
We've got lots about PE kits. Use of toilets, a long queue.
Again, this is something we're just waiting. It's a bit like the dust settling. We just need to see how things are working and how many students need to use it. Students have access to the toilets at break time and lunchtime, and that's when we want them to be able to use it. We will monitor it, and hopefully once they get the habit of doing these toilets, that they will be fine. But we will monitor it, and no student will be expected to not go to the toilet for the whole day, and we ensure they have that opportunity to go.
Can they sign up for any homework club?
So the H block, which is where all students are based for their tutor bases, will operate 2 rooms. One of those rooms will work as an after-school facility for students who might need to talk to a teacher for a particular reason, and a different room at the moment is going to be H4, will be set up as an area where students can complete homework. So yes, as soon as we're able to, we're hoping to start that running from next week. As soon as we're able to run that, that will be running in H4.
What if a child takes longer to do homework? Should they stick to the time limits, or should they work extra hours to complete homework?
We're looking at students who do about half an hour per piece of homework, so hopefully they can get it done. If it's taking much longer than that, then I think they really do need to talk to their teacher to find out what the teacher might ask them to do, because sometimes some students do take a lot longer. So please, if it's stretching on well above past half an hour, then perhaps stop at that point and talk to the teacher.
It is great that you are looking to close the gap for some children. What will be put in place for those children that are working at a higher level?
We differentiate all our work, and teachers will be, as they get to know their students, will be putting differentiated tasks within the lesson, and that will be differentiated by outcomes and by activities. So you'll find that range of learning will occur within the classroom. Just like as in primary school, there will be some students to be pushed on within that class, and other students will be given extra support. There is no difference in secondary school. We are well trained within our subjects to deliver that.
Should they be covering their books?
Right, again, very odd question you may think, but actually really quite a useful question. We're asking you not to cover your books, please. The COVID-19 virus lasts on plastic for 72 hours. On paper, it lasts for 24 hours. We ask you not to cover your books, leave them with the paper and do not cover them. Teachers will collect those books in periodically. If you can leave them for 24 hours as opposed to 72 hours, that means we can get them back to the students much more quickly. So please do not cover your books.
Are they going to be in maths sets?
Again, we have answered that question. We will look at that after Christmas, not between now and Christmas at this stage.
There's lots of questions about PE kit, and I think that once they've had their first PE lesson, they will be told what they're doing. They're either doing football, netball or fitness. So once they have been told that, they'll know exactly what PE kit to wear.
And again, if you've got the wrong kit for 1 week, it's not going to be the end of the world. We'll correct it the following week and you'll know what kit you need to be. So don't worry if you rock up with the wrong kit. As long as you've got some form of PE kit for that first lesson, that's great, and we can correct it after that.
And the last question, how long will the toilets be unisex?
The toilets are not unisex as such. There are designated boys and girls toilets within that area. The toilets are floor-to-ceiling doors, so they are cubicles, and there is no difference to using toilets anywhere else. So it's not really an issue in the slightest. There is a unisex wash basin, but each individual cubicle is enclosed, and so it's a perfectly legitimate way to run a toilet. We may well run this for future anyway. Right, thank you so much for your questions. If there are any other questions that come through or we see anything that we haven't answered on here, we will try and post a questions and answers on the website after this event. It will take us a few days to get this up and sent out to you, so please don't go, I haven't received this by the end of the evening. Give us a couple of days to get this sent out to you and amend anything, and the questions and answers will take us a few days to put up onto the website. So please bear with us while we put this out with you. But thank you again for all your support. You've been absolutely brilliant, and the Year 7's been absolutely brilliant coming into the school, and it's so lovely to see them. And let's encourage them to really build each other up while we move through this year. So again, thank you to you all, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Good night.